So, at DC Fandom, we got two new games that they discussed. The first one that they discussed was this Gotham Knights deal, which is the story seems to be about Bruce. He passes, and Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, which is basically Red Robin, not Damian, and Red Hood, right, Jason, are they got they're the defenders for Gotham, and it's a great concept that I love about the cooperative element when it comes to these live action, or more so action combats. It's not necessarily live action like real people, but this combat system that exists within, and you've been familiar with it with other games that you play, but it seems to have a more live combat system and embracing even an RPG element. And what I've had to learn, and me and my community has had to learn, that there's a community of like anti-co-op, anti-multiplayer people, and I'm certainly not among them. I know it extends the life of the game, but linear experiences, we've seen so many of those, and there's so many of those exist. Even with the Gotham Knights, they're going to allow you to play the entire deal as a single player, but the entire deal you can also play as a cooperatively, and that to me is what it's about. And I would love for that to be explored a lot more. And that is that combat system, the action combat system, implemented in more as an RPG setting that exists in DC or even Marvel. Marvel, we're kind of getting out with Avengers. I want that to be explored more. And I'm not talking about like goofy, more Looney Toony, like Marvel has their Marvel Ultimate Alliance or Omega Heroes or whatever. No, not like that. And like the combat system, like kind of we see in the Avengers, as well as what we're seeing here. So those are hard to pull maybe for PvP, but they certainly could be fun and could be explored more in a more DC Universe. Like DC Universe Online, for example, the game has been dropping the ball seriously. They should have beat Avengers to the punch with that combat system, and they should have upgraded, but it looks like a AAA studio would have to be the ones to do that. I don't think that's going to come from Daybreak, possibly, but it looks like they're going to have to throw some fun behind that. And it seems like they're now starting to give you that type of stuff, but it's not necessarily an MMO, what you would consider maybe creating your own character top to bottom, though it does have RPG and leveling system in the game. So I'm excited, and I would love to see more of that. It looked interesting. The gameplay reveal that we had got, we saw Barbara, going back. It was going. She's fighting, going to meet up with like this thing that Mr. Freeze is doing. This is like a pre-alpha game. As far as what we see, you can see like some frame drop issues there. But nonetheless, the concept of the game is what I find really intriguing, and this is also coming next year. But you see like Robin just automatically just drops in. It looks like another player jumped in. And, they even had some like team up moves and stuff like that. That's what I want. I know some of y'all ain't got no friends, man, and that's okay. But look, man, for a guy like me who grew up playing definitely even competitive games against other people on like Sega Genesis, which was my first system that I ever owned, I had the benefit, and people around my age to live through the back before we were able to hook up on Ethernet and play with our friends. That was not a thing, right? You had to link up, LAN tournaments and doing stuff like that as well. But I've always wanted things like that in the current and the next generations, because I think the technology allows us to do it, and it gives us more freedom to see some of that stuff come to life. And I would love for that to be set, obviously, in DC or Marvel's world, because that type of game, that type of gameplay is what I've always dreamed of playing, what I've always wanted to play. We just haven't really got it. We've gotten games that do this here and do that there. Some of it's too Looney Toony in terms of like the visuals, the graphics. Some of it's not, there's no really differentiation in how the characters play. There's just kind of skin changes and stuff like that. We haven't really got this combat system too, which is what I like so much about the Avengers game. Say what you will about that, but it does seem to be that there's individuals that just wanted like another Arkham, for example. They want another linear experience they can play by themselves. And I'm not against linear experience. Of course, I played the hell out of all the Arkham games. I also played Ghost of Tsushima recently on stream on the hardest level all the way through, and it was a very fun experience. But like the guys at Sucker Punch realized, hey, you can extend the life of your game if you make it multiplayer. make it cooperative. And I love that that's what it's doing. So I had to do this video because I really want to hammer that home. And like, if you have been a part of my community, the guys that watch me, and maybe the guys that stumble across this video that aren't really familiar with me, you've heard us talk about this. There's a big community that seems to be out there that's like myself, that want games like this. And we're comic book guys, not just gamers. We're comic book guys. I'm not like a guy that came here by way of a movie, you know, be it the DC Extended Universe or Marvel Cinematic Universe. I got here by way of reading a bunch of books. So to be able to play as some of these characters, or more so, I think it's more important in the world that these places are at, which is why a DC Universe Online was so intriguing, because you got to create your own guy, just completely outdated mechanics. It's exciting. We saw about the Suicide Squad game, which seems to be similar. Against what they're going against the Justice League. You see Harley Quinn and so Boomerang, Captain Boomerang. Who else is in Deadshot, and I think King Shark, right? But it does seem like it's going to be similar. It's coming from Rocksteady. This open world is what they're saying. The whole entire experience can be played both single player as well as with everybody else, so you do get that experience with them. We just never saw any gameplay, so I don't think it's worth talking about until we see that. But you see that they're starting to entertain this a lot more, and that's awesome to me. I know there's those anti-co-op, anti-multiplayer guys who just want to sit here and play and goof off by themselves, and I understand that. So at the very minimum, they're giving you that experience with a single player a campaign, or more so single player experience. So with these two games, you can play them both. It seems the whole entire main game, well, by yourself or with other people. So that's awesome. At least you get that. But man, I hope more and more games like this are coming out. I would love to see true MMOs in like more settings, like in DC's universe and Marvel's universe. These stories have already been written. I think a lot of people will play the living crap out of these games. They just have to. It's difficult to come up with those combat systems. Definitely if you're going to try to do PvP. So that's one thing that I'm certainly excited for. I hope you enjoy the video. Until next time, y'all be easy. Peace.